Hi everyone, time for another Pilates workout. Today I am going to be using a ball for the workout. So this is, I believe, a 10-inch ball. Kind of anywhere between like an 8 to 12-inch ball should work for this just fine. We're going to start on the mat. Take that ball, lift your hips up and find the ball in the middle of your sacrum. So that's that bony triangle, kind of right in the center of your upper butt. Feet are on the mat. And just start to breathe in and out at your own pace. So this ball is a little unstable, but it's also going to help you really feel the movement of your pelvis as we get ready to do some pelvic tilts. As you breathe out, think of tilting your pubic bone up towards the ceiling. And as you breathe in, think of reaching your tailbone towards your heels, stretching it away from your top of your head. You can see I've got my hands on my pelvis. It's also to help you see what I'm doing, but you can do that yourself if it helps. Heels of the hands are on the front of those hip bones, and my fingertips are together on my pubic bone. Then let's find kind of our neutral pelvis, where your tailbone feels kind of heavy on the ball, reaching towards your heels. And you're trying to keep your hip bones level as you lift one leg up to tabletop. Set it all the way back down before the other leg lifts up to tabletop. For a little more challenge, you can reach your arms up to the sky like I did. And if that just feels way too unsteady, keep your arms down on the mat. Once you're even on both sides, both legs up to tabletop, go back to those little pelvic tilts that we did before. And this is all designed to help you really find those deep abs. So focus on feeling your pelvic floor activate, those muscles at the very bottom of your pelvis. They are the same muscles that keep you from going to the bathroom. You want to just lightly activate them here. So if you're not sure what that means, squeeze them as hard as you can. Relax them, and then don't do that again. You just want to activate about roughly 25% of that maximum contraction. All right, now again, finding your neutral pelvis, lowering one leg towards the mat, lift it all the way back up to tabletop, and then the other leg. Now I'm flexing my feet. It just allows you to go a little bit further. If you point your feet, it means you just won't lower your leg as far. For a little more challenge, try taking both legs at the same time. Now the most important thing here is that your pelvis and low back are stable. So if they're moving a lot, your legs are going a little too far, or it's better to go back to one leg at a time or keep your hands on the mat. We also want to keep the neck as relaxed as possible. So feel your head sinking really heavy into the mat, shoulders are anchored down on the mat. We also want to feel that deep core transversus abdominis. So that's the muscle that wraps all the way around your waist from your rib to your hip. Feels like you're tightening up a wide belt when you're activating it correctly. Now let's release those hip flexors for a moment. Hug one knee in towards your chest, straighten the other leg all the way out, and imagine it growing a little bit longer. And I'm hovering mine off the mat. It's going to strengthen that hip flexor in a really long, lengthened position. Should feel nice. You want to keep your low back almost straight there to protect it. Now let's do that same movement with some strengthening focus. So from tabletop, one leg straightens, and then the other leg straightens. And again, the number one goal is more about your abdominals here, helping stabilize through your pelvis and low back. For a little more challenge, try both legs straightening at the same time. Another way to check if that deep transversus abdominis is active is if your abdominals are staying pretty flat. So if they're popping out almost like a loaf of bread, maybe take a moment, relax, see if you can reconnect with those deep abs. Maybe move a little bit slower. And then reach both legs up to the sky and find some external rotation. and then back to parallel. See if your entire kneecap is rotating sideways. If it's not, you might only be moving your foot or ankle. So your entire leg is rotating from in the hip socket. And then keep that external rotation. Start to lower both legs down and then lift them back up. And the lower you go, the more challenging it becomes for your abdominals. All the same goals. So if your pelvis is really wobbly, if it's tilting, if your low back is arching, if your abs are pushing out, you're just going a little too far. And remember that elbows on the mat or your entire arm on the mat is a great option to help you as you're building up strength and stability. And then let's take a quick release. Like a frog, bend both knees, and then stretch one leg open to the side. Bend that knee and stretch the other leg open to the side. And I like to move through my feet and ankle a little bit. It just helps release that lower leg and any tension in the foot. And a little stretch, hug both knees into your chest. Let's find tabletop again. Now we're going to really work those lower abdominals. So think of curling your tailbone towards the sky. Draw your lower abdominals in so much that the space from your hip bone towards your bottom rib starts to grow a little closer together. To take this even further, I'm reaching my hands to just steady the ball, and I'm going to try to curl off the ball. My knees are still bent. That's going to help my pelvis roll off the ball. And I'm just holding the ball so it doesn't roll away from me, basically. When you're ready, roll all the way over and straighten your legs out. So you're balancing on your shoulders. Open your legs to about shoulder distance. Try flexing your feet as you slowly roll back down until your hips are on the ball. For more challenge, you're going to lower your legs away from you before you bring them back together and do the whole thing again. Legs lift up. Scoop your lower abdominals so much that you roll all the way onto your shoulders. And if this is not feeling good for your back today, go back to where we started, focusing on just the low abs up towards the bottom rib. That's still going to be a great way to strengthen your abs. We do want to also check that we don't roll up so high that you have all the weight on your neck. So be sure you can still swallow, you can still breathe. You have a little bit of space from your chin to your chest each time you roll over. Once you've done that about 4 to 5 times, hug your knees into your chest. And then we're going to lift your hips off the ball. Grab that ball in your hands. Feet go onto the mat, arms reach up to the sky. And let's do some little abdominal crunches here. So reach the ball towards your thighs. Start from the top of your head, curl your chin towards your chest, and try to roll up to the bottom of the shoulder blades. You're trying not to move the lower half of your torso. So as you curl up, take a peek at that pubic bone again. If it's tilting up to the sky, you've lost the stability in that lower part of your torso. So think waist down to the tailbone, doesn't move at all. You'll feel your abs even more that way. Now bring one leg up to tabletop, the other leg up to tabletop. Let's isolate your shoulder blades. So reach the ball up to the sky, spread your shoulder blades apart, and then slide your shoulder blades back towards the mat. Feel your chest widen while keeping the front of the ribs closed. Now adding a little rotation through the shoulder. So kind of like a steering wheel, you're going to turn one hand on top and one hand on the bottom of the ball. Elbows are still straight. Chest is still wide. That's going to warm up the internal and external rotators of the shoulder. Once you're even on both sides, bend your elbows, bring that ball to your chest. Let's add some rotation in our sit-ups. Reach that ball past your opposite thigh. Thinking rib curling towards the opposite hip as you lift your head and shoulders off the mat. You're trying not to move that lower body at all, which can be really challenging. Keep breathing. I like to exhale as I curl up and inhale as I roll down, but either way is okay. Let's add your legs. So curling straight through the center, straighten the legs out, kind of almost rolling that ball along your thighs, gently pressing into the thigh at the first. And then let's hold those legs out, going back to that steering wheel pattern. Breathing. Pressing into that ball is going to activate your arm and shoulder muscles even more, so it's a little easier if you're just touching the ball, a little harder if you're kind of squeezing the ball. You can even grab the ball to work all your grip and strength muscles, which can be really helpful. Anytime you grab anything, you need that strength. All right, let's come back to tabletop. Arms reach all the way overhead with the ball. We're going to do a little combination here. So you've got to sit up, put the ball in between your knees, lower your head and chest, and then straighten your legs out. The next time you curl up, you grab the ball and reach it back over your head. So one time the ball is in between your legs, the next time it's in your hands. Always good to challenge the coordination. It's so great for your brain and the connection with your muscles. That's that neuromuscular system. Now the next time you curl up, take the ball in between your ankles, curl the head and chest off the mat, arms reach by your sides. Let's try that same thing we did with your arms, but using your legs now. So one leg rotates on top of the other. You're trying to hold that ball as you switch to the other side. Try about 3 or 4 in each direction, and then take a little break, bend your knees in, grab that ball, shake out your legs, take a quick rest. When you're ready, that ball is going to go back in between your ankles, legs straight up to the sky. We're going to try that rollover that we did before. Curling your pelvis off the mat. Find those lower abdominals and reach your feet overhead till you're balancing on your shoulder blades. Now try to rotate one foot on top of the other. Keep it there as you roll all the way down. And then you'll switch as you lower the legs away from you. Keep that as you roll all the way up. Now, if you're finding it more difficult to roll over, it is more difficult in this position. We had the ball under our pelvis before, which was actually kind of giving you a head start, right? Your hips were already off the mat. Now you're having to do the entire range of motion by yourself. So if this is not working for you today, it's okay. Try not to be hard on yourself. You can try it with knees bent. You can start with that smaller range of motion where we're curling just through the pelvis and the low back. And if at any point you're feeling pain, it's much better to go back to that smaller range of motion. You want to find where you're not having any pain. That's your body definitely telling you, hey, this is not good for us today. We want to listen to that. Also good to know that your arms are helping you here, yeah? So you're definitely pressing into the mat a little bit while still keeping your head and shoulders really anchored on the floor. If you start to feel your neck really tensing up, see if you can take a quick break, maybe roll out your shoulders, reconnect to those deep abdominals, and that should help you use your neck a little bit less. Once you're even on both sides, we get another break. Hug those knees into your chest, grab your ball. All right, let's get off your back.